It is official. Joe Biden has officially dropped out of the 2024 presidential race and has endorsed his VP Kamala Harris to succeed him at the top of the Democratic ticket for 2024. According to Polymarket, a betting tracker site, Kamala Harris has a 91% chance to become the Democratic nominee for 2024. And so in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my Trump versus Kamala Harris 2024 election prediction. So let's get into it. According to Polymarket, Trump has a 64% chance of winning the 2024 presidential race. Now, I do think the Democrats definitely did make a mistake in nominating Kamala Harris, as actually she is even more unpopular than Joe Biden. So now I'm going to start filling out the safe states for Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. We're going to start with Kamala Harris. These are going to be her safe states: California, Hawaii, Vermont, Delaware, Maryland, DC, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Maine's 1st congressional districts. These are all going to be safe states for Kamala Harris. Now we're going to go to Donald Trump. These are his safe states: Alaska, Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, North and South Dakota, Nebraska at large, along with Nebraska's 1st and 3rd congressional districts, Kansas, Oklahoma, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, and West Virginia. He's going to win all of these states by safe margins. Oh, and also Florida, putting his safe electoral votes at 178. Before we go to our likely states, less than 3% of you all watching are subscribed. So if you enjoyed this kind of content, please consider subscribing. It's very easy, but it makes a big impact on the channel. So let's get back to the video. Now we're going to move on to our likely states. We're going to start with Kamala Harris again. I'm predicting that Washington and Oregon are going to be likely states around. Now, likely characterizations are 12 points or less. Now, the reason why I have these two states as likely states is because they are deep blue states. And even though they're deep blue states, I do really see these states shifting about 6 points to the right. Right now, in the general election poll between Trump and Harris, the 5-way aggregate, Trump leads by 4.7%. If you did the math, that would be an 8-point shift to the right from 2020. Now, I'm not saying that all the polls are correct. I do not expect the polls to be correct. But when you see this kind of magnitude of a shift, I really do think that these states are going to be only likely states and not safe states, just because of how much I do expect these states to shift right. And then another state that I have as a likely state is Colorado. Now, Colorado has been one of the most left-trending states in the country. It voted for Biden by 13.5%, an 8-point shift from 2016. And because Colorado is a very Democrat-trending state, I do see the state as a likely margin just because of the political environment that we're in, the Republican-friendly political environment. That's why I have the state as a likely margin. Another state that I have as a likely margin is Illinois. Now, Illinois voted for Biden by 17 points in 2020. But because of the Democrats' bleed among black voters in the Chicago metro area, I do see Illinois shifting right relative to the nation. So that's why I have Illinois as a likely state for Democrats. Another likely state that I have is New York and Connecticut. Now, New York actually voted for Biden by 23 points. But really the real reason that I have New York under 12 points is because Kamala Harris is a very unpopular candidate. If you actually look at the polls in New York, Biden, who just dropped out, only led Trump by 9 points in plus 23 New York. Also, New York almost elected a Republican to be their governor, just 7 points away from a Republican winning the governorship in 2022. So So that's really the reason why I have New York under 12 points for the Democrats. And then we have Connecticut. The reason why I have Connecticut under 12 points is because I do see a big shift in Connecticut. It's just because of the political environment that we're in. Connecticut did vote for Biden by 20 points, but I do see Connecticut really shifting right relative to the nation. So that's really why I have Connecticut under 12 points. I don't see probably like a 6-point win for Biden. I see more like 11-point win for Biden. Of course, different states shift differently, and that's why you might see a bigger shift in Connecticut than you might see in Texas or Florida. And that's why I have Connecticut as a likely state for Kamala Harris. So now we're going to go to the likely states for Donald Trump. Texas is the first state. Now, Texas has been a left trending state over past elections. In 2012, it actually voted for Mitt Romney by 15.8%. But then just 8 years later, it was only a 5.6% win for Trump. And even though Republicans have been bleeding in the state, there is one reason why I really see this holding true to Republicans in 2024. And the reason why is the Rio Grande Valley. This is really a Hispanic heavy portion of the state, and Hispanics in this region have been shifting to the Republicans in recent years. For that reason, I have this as a likely margin for Republicans. Another state that I have a likely margin for Donald Trump is North Carolina. If we looked at polls between Trump and Biden out of North Carolina, Trump is up in the five-way aggregate by 5.7 points. I see Kamala Harris doing even worse in North Carolina. She is a lot less popular than Joe Biden, and really Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are not good picks for their party. And for this reason, I have North Carolina as a likely state. And then I have one more likely district that I'm going to have as a characterization for the Republicans, and that's going to be Maine 2nd. Now, Maine 2nd voted for Donald Trump in 2020 by 7.4%. I do see Maine shifting about 4 points to the right, which would make it about 11.4% win for Trump. I do see it shifting left relative to the nation, so that's why I have this as a likely win for Trump. So that finishes off the likely states. Now we're going to go to the lean states for each party. I see Kamala Harris winning these states by lean margins. New Jersey, Virginia, and New Mexico. These three states, I see Kamala Harris winning by lean margins. And you might be really surprised that I have New Jersey as a lean margin for Kamala Harris. But really the reason why I have that is because of New Jersey's shift to the right. And even though Biden won this by 16 points, a Republican came 3 points away from winning the governor's mansion in New Jersey. Really a sizable shift to the right in New Jersey. Also, the voter registration has not been good for Democrats in the state, as Republicans are starting to pick up with the Democrats in the state. Now, I don't see Republicans winning this state. I do think that they can come close because of Kamala Harris's unpopularity. That's why I have it as a lean margin. And basically the same reason for Virginia. Now, actually, Glenn Youngkin won Virginia. Virginia actually voted for a Republican governor. So I actually have this as a lean margin for Democrats. I also could see this as a tilt margin. I think I'm actually going to put this as a tilt margin. I do see it becoming a really competitive state this time. I don't think that Donald Trump is going to carry this over the finish line, but I do see Democrats winning this by a tilt margin this election, just because of Virginia's shift to the right. Also, New Mexico, because New Mexico is a Hispanic majority state, and New Mexico is a Democrat state. It voted for Joe Biden by 11 points in 2020, but because of Hispanics' shift to the right in recent years, I do see the shifting right relative to the nation, making it a lean state. Go to the lean states for Donald Trump. I actually have Arizona as a lean state for Donald Trump. Now, prior to this, I actually had this as a tilt state for Trump because of Joe Biden and the incumbency advantage that he had. But because Joe Biden is no longer at the top of the ticket, I do see Trump winning this by a lean margin. Also with Georgia, because of the Democrats' bleed with black voters in the state, I do see Trump being able to win this by 3 to 6 points, which is a lean margin. Another state that I have Trump winning by a lean margin is Nevada. Now, Nevada has been a right-trending state in recent years. It actually elected a Republican governor in 2022. And in 2020, it voted 2.4% right relative to the nation. So for that reason, I have Nevada as a lean state for Republicans. Another lean state I have is Wisconsin. Wisconsin is going to be another lean state for Republicans, along with Michigan and Pennsylvania. These are really the Rust Belt states. They tend to vote along the same lines, and I do see the white working class voters in these states really shifting hard to the right this year. Kamala Harris is really going to drag down the Democrat tickets in these states. I see Trump winning all of these by lean margins. And also, just to put it out there, Trump is leading in the polls in all 6 of the battlegrounds. And then I have another lean characterization, Nebraska's 2nd district. Now, Nebraska's 2nd district was redistricted to become more Republican, and I do see Donald Trump and Republicans winning this district because it was redistricted, and also because it's a very good Republican environment. For that reason, I have Donald Trump winning these states. And then I actually have Trump at this point in mid-July. I do see him winning Minnesota and New Hampshire by tilt margins. Now, before this, I was very hesitant to give these to Trump, as I did assume that Biden was going to outperform the polls in Minnesota and New Hampshire, along with the rest of the country. But now, since Kamala Harris is in it, and also after Biden's disastrous debate performance, I know he's going to be out of the race, but still, Kamala Harris stands for many unpopular Joe Biden policies that he had in place during his tenure. And for these reasons, I do see Minnesota and New Hampshire shifting very right relative to the nation. This is almost a landslide environment for Donald Trump. Kamala Harris, in my opinion, was one of the Democrats' worst picks, and it's going to be very hard for the Democrats to recover from this in years following after this election. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash the like button down below and subscribe. Comment your thoughts or suggestions in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.